Good morning, everybody. What a time to be alive. I want to pause for a minute here at the beginning of the show and offer a moment of silence so that we can all send out our private prayers to the people we love in Jesus' name. Now, for about the last decade of my life, my prayers have consisted not of eloquent diatribes or perfectly crafted pleas to the Most High. Most times, when I pray, as instructed by the Most High and His Son to go into a private place, a closet, most of my prayers amounted to a simple dialogue, like I'm talking to a friend or my father. And the word why oftentimes comes up in my dialogue and my conversation with the Most High. Most of my prayers have been in my head, just me and Him talking. Don't ever be intimidated by prayer. I remember in the first part of my life, I always felt inadequate praying because there are people who speak these eloquent prayers and verbalize it. They can speak in front of crowds, large groups of people. And there's a certain language to the prayer that we've been conditioned to believe that we're supposed to be praying, right? And it's in a fashion or form that makes most of us fall short of that ability. But we should never, ever be intimidated when we go into our place with the Father to simply ask Him questions and talk to Him. Because all prayer is a private conversation between you and your Father in heaven. It shouldn't be something you have to learn to do any more than you would have to learn to talk to your earthly father. But I know a lot of people are going through stuff right now. A lot of people are alone. And we are entering very uncertain times. And that can be a sick feeling. So always remember, you have the ability to go in the closet, you and the Father, in your head. You don't even have to speak the words, just think them. And He knows you're talking to Him. He can hear you. And I'm confident that if you start that dialogue today with Him, things will change in your life. Now, sometimes we need to pray for each other and ask the Father to bring peace and resolution into our lives. And most importantly, let His kingdom come. Now, I think about you guys every single day. I hear your stories. I hear the suffering, the turmoil, the loss. I don't always reply to your comments and your emails because sometimes it's almost too much to bear. And then I think about how the Father must feel with all the suffering going on in the world. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for all of you who come here every day with a hunger for the truth. And most importantly, your hunger for the love of the Lord. Because sometimes when I want to give up, God reminds me of all the people who are depending on each other that come here to the channel. And so I wake up another day with the mindset of service to all of you who come here. To those of you who depend on this awesome group that God blessed us with. Now, I had a few beautiful visitors yesterday on the Honey Milk Ranch. We're going to start the day off with a positive note because there's a lot of heavy subject matter we're going to get into today. Let's first look at these beautiful deer against the backdrop of a passing storm. Look at the sky against the silhouette of the trees. There's a little better shot from the master bedroom. Got a Bambi down there. Probably hard to see, but I'll zoom in. Oh boy. Mama and Bambi. I just cut down some bunch of stuff down there. There was a bunch of, limbs and stuff that I couldn't get with the mower because I don't want to fall down the cliff. And so I went out there with a hedge trimmer. And now it's created some food. Easy pickings for the deer. Look how cute they are. There's a little better shot from the master bedroom. They're down there eating something. Storm just blew through. You can see the dark skies. Mama and baby. Don't see daddy though. Mama's on the lookout. She's looking straight up the hill. Make sure there's no funny business. There's Mama. A beautiful deer. Looks a little skinny. So, I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, there's a lot to cover today. Heliofant just removed all their videos from their YouTube page, including iPetGoat 2. That was approaching 1 million views or more. They removed the content with just 666 days left before 9/23. 6 days and 6 days and 6 days before 9/23. That's 18 days. Now, I don't want to date set here, but what the heck is going on? Now, their channel started on July 3rd, 2012, and that July 3rd is the exact halfway point in a year, in a calendar year. And if you think this is a big nothing sandwich, why didn't they just delete the whole channel? Why did they delete just the content, just the videos? Now, there will be a lot of shockers on today's show. And here is one of them. Remember Heliofant's website that we've been to so many times to look at the high resolution images and the screenshots and all of that? Heliofant.com? Well, it's gone. Again, with 6 and 6 and 6 days left before 9/23. And this brings us to our first poll, because just because I can't see Heliofant.com, maybe some of you have access to Heliofant.com. Let me put the link in here and see if you guys have access to Heliofant.com. Now, I know that Canada is very weird about, copyright and all this other stuff. It's a whole different beast. And even their programming on TV and their news outlets, you can't even get Canadian programming. And so we have to ask ourselves, is it just us that can't see the site, or can nobody see the site? As we watch this poll. Now, today is going to get very serious, because we all remember the black hole sun in the actual logo of the Hierophant name. It's the letter O. And remember, we called that out many years ago. I told you that that O in the word Hierophant is the black hole sun. We did an entire decode on it. Well, the timing of their videos coming down and their website coming down fits exactly into the fire and rain ritual that we just went through, the black hole sun. And I'll explain all this to you, because once we break it all down, you will see everything connected exactly the way it should be. What is a 403 Forbidden Era? It is basically forbidden from watching or looking at the site, which is what the Hierophant website says. Now, this begs the question, going back to Burning Man, was there enough fire at Burning Man? I'm sorry, enough rain at Burning Man to put out the man on fire? And the answer to that is no. The fire went off just as planned. The latter rains did not extinguish the destruction of the man. No flesh left. Let's take a look. Now, I couldn't believe these images, but you're about to see them for yourself. The latter rains did not extinguish the destruction of man. Look at this satanic thing. Encompassed in a hexagon matrix. Look at these pictures. This is the hive. 666666666 all around the burning man. Are you starting to see the spiritual ramifications of this? Look at the three pillars. It's the crucifixion. Essentially, what you're looking at here is Jesus on fire. On the sides are the two thieves. The man is held up in the crucifixion position, surrounded by the matrix, the prison. Now, there's a better image of it here. You can't make this up. Now, we're also going to be covering on today's show Bill Gates, Bud grab. Yes, Bill Gates is buying up Bud Light. We're also going to cover the October 4th FEMA emergency test. Many of you asked me to look into. I found 666 in that date as well. Also, an infant that we are told that his eyes changed to blue from brown after a COVID treatment. We're also going to talk about science now attempting to mess with your genes to bring forth a third row of teeth. Wow. And finally, toward the end of the show, we're going to get into the Burning Man evacuation that they are now calling an exodus, which confirms a lot of our biblical observations. And in fact, I started digging into the film Moana, in which Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, starred in, playing the character Maui. And in the opening scenes of that animated film, a little girl goes down into the ocean as the seas are parted, just like the Exodus. I told you this was going to be a shocker show today, and I wasn't making that up. Let's get started on some of these stories, you guys. It looks like researchers have decided to target genes. Japanese scientists want to target genes that trigger a third row of teeth to grow. Wasn't that the Nephilim who had 3 rows of teeth? Let's read this. A 2021 study out of Japan showed how targeting genes can regrow teeth in animals. Now the team has turned to a human clinical trial. By targeting the USAG1 gene, researchers believe that they can help people without a full set of teeth regrow teeth. What could go wrong with that? The team says that humans have a third set of teeth available as buds, ready to grow as needed. Then they mentioned sharks and their ability to regrow teeth. So, what are they going to do? Mix our DNA with sharks? Unreal. Now, this next story is creepy. And let me check in with you guys and check this poll. See if anybody has access to the Hierophant site. Wow, looks like maybe 10% of you do. Why are most of us? Maybe it's just the people from Canada that can see the site. Let's ask that question. Well, we won't need to do a poll on that, but if you are from Canada, can you see the site? I know Rebecca's from Canada. Maybe they just cut everybody off from the site and not the people from Canada. Let's go into the chat here. Can the people from Canada see the Hierophant site? Let's see here. Oh, some people hit yes on accident. Okay, people from Canada cannot see it. So, most people cannot see the site. So, let's move on and talk about this next story. This infant, his eyes changed from brown to blue. How did this happen? Because of a COVID treatment. Are you kidding me? Now, to be clear, it wasn't a vaccine that caused this. They're saying that this is a side effect of an antiviral, which, interestingly enough, is legal in China. Now, how spooky is this? Now, this story, I believe, holds some secrets, because they're saying it's not the iris that changed color. Normally, your iris determines the color of your eyes. It wasn't the iris that changed color. It was the thin layer over the eye called the cornea. Some people's eyes even turned fluorescent. And so did their nails and teeth. It wasn't just this boy whose eyes turned blue. There were several people who reacted to this same treatment in the same way. Now, what's the name of the antiviral? It's called favipiravir. That's the name there. Now, we've looked into the cornea before, haven't we? Because we looked at cross-sections of the cornea of the eye in our body code series. And we saw that the cornea had a matrix over it that looked like scales. In fact, we found 3 sets of scales in the eyes, which brings us to biblical verses about Saul and the scales falling from his eyes, and then he could see. And remember, we looked at cross sections of the cornea. We found the hexagonal matrix. We also looked at cross sections of the lens of the eye inside, and it also had the hexagonal matrix. And finally, we looked at the inside inner wall of the eye, where the rods and cones were. And those cross sections also looked like a hexagon matrix. And then we read stories about a man who had his lens removed from his eye because he had cataracts or clouding of the lens. And when his lens was removed, he could see the heavens in a brilliance that he couldn't even describe. The scales fell from his eyes and he could see. Now, the explanation they give in this story is that this drug released a blue chemical as it broke down, and this is what caused the cornea of the eye to become blue or fluorescent. They're also saying that another possible theory is what's in the ingredients of the pill that was given. Ferric oxide. Ferrous fluid, ferrofluid, iron. Something fishy's going on with this story, isn't there? Now, let's get into some other stories. Remember yesterday we were talking about how the rich get richer and how they wait for the economy to crash and then they buy up everything? And remember how we talked about how that's so messed up, because if they have their incentive to get rich is to wait for the economy to crash, what's stopping them from crashing the economy themselves? What's stopping them from doing stuff like what they did to Bud Light so they could buy it back up? What's stopping them from doing that if they know they're going to get rich when the economy crashes? Well, look at what Bill Gates just did. Now, just so you know, this released after our show yesterday, which we talked about this. And lo and behold, Bill Gates is going to acquire 1.7 million shares of Bud Light. Doing exactly what we said these people do when we did a decode yesterday. So you have to ask yourself, will Bud Light become the new alt beer? I can imagine that stuff like this, what is the incentive for this? What do you guys think the incentive for them to do this is? Because think about this, just on its face, the very fact that Bill Gates is buying Bud Light will bump the stock, won't it? And he'll make a whole lot of money just being the guy who bought it. Kind of like what happened with Twitter and Elon Musk buying it after it was devalued. Right? You guys, we're smart people. We should think about this stuff and figure it out. So right on its face, he's going to make a bunch of money, isn't he? And you have to ask yourself, what is behind this? Well, here's what I think they're going to do. They're going to use Bud Light as a litmus test to see how many people they've tricked. See how many people are going along with this new program, the new world they want to create, the 15-minute cities, everything that Bill Gates represents will essentially become a litmus test based on the stock price of Bud Light. So as Bud Light increases in stock value, they'll basically have a meter, and they're going to watch this and go, oh, okay, we have this many people convinced based on this market share of Bud Light. And if Bud Light comes back and gains market share, they're going to be like, oh, okay, we're winning, aren't they? Wow. So, something to watch. Now, they're now billing Burning Man. Let's get into Burning Man and the Black Hole Sun. They are now billing Burning Man and the evacuation as an exodus. And now your theories about the layout of Burning Man and the aerial photos looking like a winged disc, they're starting to make more sense to me. Where did our winged disc go? Oh, here it is. This is starting to make more sense to me. There you see the disc in the middle, and it's winged. Now, why is this starting to make more sense to me? Well, the winged sun was about sun worship. This is it right here. The winged sun. And it was about sun worship in ancient Egypt. So, the Exodus reference would be appropriate, wouldn't it? Escaping Egypt. Christ the Rock escaped Egypt in the Black Rock Desert, didn't he? Now, this also is a giant sundial, isn't it? Now here's where things get creepy, because not only does the winged sun exist in ancient Egypt, according to this, it also existed in the ancient tribe of Judah, the very tribe from which Jesus himself came. When did this exist? King Hezekiah. This is King Hezekiah here. And this is his winged disc that they're saying belonged to him and has his name on it. The stamped bulla of King Hezekiah. And it says, of Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah. It has the winged disc with downturned wings. Now, this footnoted article of this winged disc, this is it here. You have to go in the Wayback Machine because the site no longer exists. But they make a pretty strong case for this winged disc to have belonged to King Hezekiah. But I'll let you make the final determination, because oftentimes when you're looking at these historical artifacts, they try to attach darkness to some of this stuff, don't they? King Hezekiah was known for basically flushing out and getting rid of all the false worship in Israel, wasn't he? He got rid of it. And he redirected everyone to worship the Most High. So you'll have to decide for yourself. In any case, if you do believe that the tribe of Judah, King Hezekiah, had this in his possession, then it would be a case, in my opinion, of the true God winged sun versus the false God winged sun, which would obviously be ancient Egypt. Egypt was opposed to Israel, wasn't it? It enslaved Israel. So Egypt always had a dark side version of the holy things, of the good things. Now this is shocking, because this falls in line with exactly what we were talking about. All these biblical connections. It's being confirmed every single minute that goes on. Now, I hope you're sitting down for this, because the Black Rock City winged disc of the Nevada Burning Man, let's pull that up again so you can get a visual. Here it is, Black Rock City, Burning Man, the winged disc in the desert, may very well be the winged black hole sun. Look at these images of the black hole sun and tell me that doesn't look like a black hole winged disc to you. And then I had another epiphany of the Holy Spirit. If there's a black rock hole winged disk at Burning Man, then there has to be a black rock hole winged disk at Lahaina, Maui, doesn't there? And so I simply looked. And lo and behold, this is Lahaina, or was Lahaina, and this is Black Rock Beach, less than a mile up the coast. Technically still in Lahaina. Now, where does Black Rock come from? It comes from another black hole sun, a volcano. Now, at this time, I could not believe what I was seeing. But then I remembered that Maui is a volcanic island, and it is full of black rock. It is full of black rock, surrounded by wings of burning lava, which look like the sun. You guys, Burning Man was basically the depiction of a giant volcano with wings of lava coming out of it. A black hole sun. Now, as above, so below. So the black hole that they're telling us is up in the sky is the above version of this, the black hole sun of a volcano. The caldera, the lava flow of the volcano. Volcanoes are black hole suns. Black volcanic rock surrounded by wings of fire. Look at the imagery here. You can't make this up. Now, another epiphany hit me, and this really sealed the deal. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Of course, those were the lyrics to the song Black Hole Sun by the group Soundgarden. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Another definitive connection connecting Lahaina, Maui, and Burning Man. The fire and then the rain. Now, a lot of people decoded the death of Chris Cornell, the frontman of Soundgarden. Their signature song that made them famous, Black Hole Sun, was 5 minutes and 18 seconds long. And he died on 5 minutes, 18 seconds long, May 18th. Now, the music video was, of course, about shapeshifters. And after all these years of watching that music video over and over again, trying to figure out what it really meant, finally, it's been revealed to me. In my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one knows, lies the face, lies the snake. And the entire music video is serpentine shapeshifters with snake tongues coming out and their faces morphing, basically people hiding in plain sight that aren't really people. As Chris Cornell begs for the black hole sun to wash away the rain, are you starting to see the connections? I really hope you are. Because the Burning Man and Maui fire and rain ritual was exactly that. Rituals. The black hole sun not being washed away by the rain. Instead, the man still burned. Now, if you still think that I'm just stretching this all out of thin air, which I get accused of sometimes, remember, and never forget the Hierophant logo that we called out probably 8 years ago. We called this the black hole sun. A ring around the black sun. And this little dot here, which we didn't know if it was a planet or what, but it was above the eye. And then there was a graphic animation in which this dot moved from the top of the eye to the vicinity of the black hole sun. The timing of the site going down and all their videos being removed with relationship to the Maui fires and Burning Man mud rain event are all definitely connected. So what does all this mean? Well, here's my opinion, and I don't know this to be true, but everything seems to be pointing to some kind of portal being opened inside of black hole suns on Earth and in heaven, in volcanoes and in whatever these portals they're trying to open. Now, this is biblical because the Bible talks about seals being opened. The Bible talks about things coming up from out of pits. The beast emerging. It talks about the days of Noah being like the end times, titans, and all kinds of unclean spirits coming from below and above. Why do you think that some of the floodwaters came from the fountains of the deep to wash away the sin? Because the rain is the cleansing agent. But guess what? Instead of the flood of water, Jesus will come with the flood of fire. Won't he? Now, tomorrow we're going to be decoding the animated film Moana, I think is how you pronounce it, which was all about a shapeshifter named Maui, played by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. More rock references. And then there's this. Again, another bombshell. I gotta find it. Balenciaga. The Burning Man Mud Show of 2022. A year before it happened. Here it is. Let me play some of this. Mind blown. This was 2022. Now this has started to go viral because other people are recognizing the creepy connections. They literally called this the Burning Man fashion show of Balenciaga. This was in 2022, an entire year before the raining out of Burning Man, and everybody's talking about it. The fashion models walking through the mud-soaked landscape. Let's watch a little bit more of this, see if there's any clues. I had to turn the music off because I'm not too sure about the copyright. But look at this. I wonder if there's chemical burns on their feet from the alkali soil mixed with the rainwater, drying their feet out. Let's see if we can see any more clues about this. Look at that. What is that, a dead rabbit she's holding? God help us. God help these people. We need to pray for our enemies, don't we? We need to pray for them. because these people are lost. They're literally satanically possessed, going down the road of destruction. Look at just walking right through the mud. What are they carrying? Now, another connection that kind of jumped out at me. Remember we looked at the artificial intelligence artwork, and everyone had these giant eyes that looked like monkeys. Well, that kind of reminded me of the Black Hole Sun people in the music video. Their eyes were very similar to the monkey eyes we saw in that artificial intelligence, weren't they? Look at this. Literally, they're like predicted it. And still, so many people are asleep. And it's not even that they're saying like, oh, okay, well, you got a connection there. What can we actually do about it? It's not even that they're saying that. Because if they were saying that, wouldn't they start taking actions to not be part of this world? Wouldn't they say, you know what, that's diabolical? How do these people have that much power that they can cause rain to fall on an exact day to do something like this? How do they have that power? Don't you think people would start like waking up to the agenda? So it's not about that. It's just that they're so deceived they can't even see the truth when it's staring them in the face. Look at this, the Summer 23 collection. Now, I'm going to go back in the chat here before we start to wind down the show here and get your guys' thoughts on some of this stuff. It's just shocking, isn't it? Now, we're also going to read to see if there were any, we got to cover the October 4th FEMA emergency alert, and I'll show you the 666 I found in that. We're also going to go back and just drill down on this Burning Man biblical exodus to see if there's any other connections in the reporting of it, as the elite are trying to replace the rock of Jesus Christ with the black rock of this sinful world. Let's take a look. The mass exodus. Let's read this. Thousands of Burning Man attendees finally made their mass exodus after intense rain over the weekend flooded campsites and filled them with thick ankle-deep mud. You guys, these are the Egyptians. The Red Sea parted, and they were stuck in the miry mud and could not chase the remnant. Christ Rock was the remnant. See, it's all mockery. He made it out. The dark remnant is along with Diplo, which means two. Let's keep reading here. Organizers officially announced the driving ban that was imposed amid heavy rains Friday had been lifted Monday afternoon, and attendees could safely leave Black Rock City, the makeshift city erected every year for the event. The area was still muddy and parts were still difficult to navigate, organizers warned, and the wait time to leave the city Monday was about 7 hours. But that's not unusual. It's taken 6 to 9 hours during peak travel times in past years. Oh, 6 to 9. There's your inversion ritual number, the yin and yang. Oh, there's an estimated 2 to 3 hour wait to leave Black Rock City. There's your Balenciaga 23. Festival organizers posted on X. Of course they posted on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Debris from other vehicles on the highway at higher speeds. Travel safe. Here is the Exodus. What you're looking at here is a mockery of the remnant of the 12 tribes of Israel escaping Egypt. They inverted it. So this is all the sinful Egyptians making it through the Red Sea. This is unbelievable. In their caravan, which is what the Israelites were in. A caravan of tents and RVs. I'm just blown away, you guys. It's not often that I get blown away and I'm almost speechless, but this is one of those days. Let's keep reading. For many attendees, getting stranded in the desert and missing flights and other responsibilities was stressful and unsettling. But some said the weather issues brought camp communities closer together as people shared food and resources, offered shelter to those who needed it, and gathered together. As soon as the tents started getting waterlogged or unlivable, people in RVs started taking in some of the tenters. There you go. There's your tents of the 12 tribes. Let's see if they mention anything about the tabernacle. Let's see if there's anything in here that ties that into all this. So everybody was warm. They went in with the tenters. Kaz Kwamruden. Oh, of course it's Kwamruden. Wow. We're a community that comes together in hard times, he said later, adding it's all about coming together and working as a team. Now, if any of you have gone to Burning Man, was there a central area, a larger tent that was named a tabernacle? I'd be curious to hear if there's anything like that. Among the early departures, who told CNN he walked several miles in the muddy desert Saturday morning along with other celebrities, including Chris Rock, Cindy Crawford, Kaya Gerber, and Austin Butler. But when they reached the paved road, a fan offered them a ride in the back of a truck. Of the 72,000 people who were still on site late Sunday evening, roughly 64,000 remained midday Monday, organizers said. Are you ready for this? What is 72,000 and 72,000? Let's go back into the chat. What is 72,000 and 72,000? Let's see who gets the answer. Let's see who's paying attention today. Unbelievable. There you go. Jam got it. 144,000. Do you now understand this is a biblical ritual? Please tell me you guys understand this is a biblical ritual. Because 144,000 is the 12 tribes of Israel in the book of Revelation. 12,000 in each tribe. Yes, the remnant. This was an inversion ritual. Mockery. God will not be mocked. If you're still not seeing this and you think, oh, you're picking on the people of Burning Man, what are you thinking? What are you doing? I'll leave that up to between you and God. Because I can't even believe this. Let's keep reading. Maybe there's a tabernacle reference here to seal the deal for some of those are still in doubt. Look at this. Let's see how many lanes there are. Many stayed, heeding officials' recommendations, and waited for the climax of the event, the burning of the man. One day later than scheduled, the massive wooden effigy known as the man was set ablaze Monday night. So this was a mark of the beast ritual with all the hexagons, the 666 around the burning man. Let's count the lanes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of course there has to be 10 lanes. The 10 Commandments. Wow. After the first rains soaked campsites Friday, event leaders alerted attendees that driving was no longer allowed in the city. They halted entry and exit in the area, urged people to shelter in place. The remote area in northwest Nevada was hit by up to 0.8 inches, about twice the average September rainfall, in just 24 hours. So, I'll put links to all this, of course. Now, let's start to wrap up the show with probably one of the more important aspects of an upcoming event. The October 4th FEMA Emergency Alert. Scheduled to take place with 88 days left in the year on October 4th. This is it right here. Let's read about this and see if there's any clues. FEMA will conduct a nationwide test of the emergency alert system and wireless emergency alert on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023 at 10:20 Alaska time. Look at this. If the October 4th test date is postponed, the backup testing date will be another 88, October 11th. 8/11, 8 times 11 is 88. So if they can't get it on this one with 88 days left in the year, I'll just flip it to 8/11, 88. I'm sorry. October in the Julian calendar is the 8th month, but not in our Gregorian calendar. In case you were wondering, in case he lost his marbles, did he forget how to count? Now, why Alaska time? That's another clue, isn't it? Why Alaska time? Could this be a precursor to Russian aggression at the Alaska border? Look at the time. 22:20 in military time. 10:20 is 22:20. 22:20 is a 6. There's also a 60-second message. That's another 6. And 10:4, 10 minus 4 is 6. 666 encoded in this emergency alert. And that's about all the information they give us here, you guys, with 88 days left in the year. Will something happen? Again, I don't like to date set, but we do like to break this stuff down in case other stuff manifests that we can look in hindsight and say, wow, they were connected. Now, one last story. They've sentenced this guy, that's all we're going to say, from the crapper hole. Of course, he gets 22 years. And still, there is no fund. There is no defense fund. The very judge that sentenced him was appointed by Trump himself. And most importantly, this is our future. The prosecutor urged the judge to ensure that consequences are abundantly clear to anyone who might be unhappy with the results of 2024, 2028, 2032, or any future election for as long as the case is remembered. Welcome to America, where you can't even be unhappy with an election result. God help us. And this is why I tell you, it's just the right-left paradigm. The largest honey trap in human history. And still, people are supporting one man over the other, thinking that they have some kind of a chance. As they're being marched into prison, and there's no help for them. Wow. God, please take the scales from these people's eyes, so they can see the truth and step outside of this paradigm and believe in your Son, Jesus Christ, that you sent to us to pull us out of this tug of war, the red and the blue, to believe in him and know that he has all of this taken care of, and that when he comes, we'll have eternity in perfect bodies with no sorrows, no tears, no anxiety, no struggle to make ends meet. In Jesus' name. I told you things were happening, you guys, and they are. Let's go into the chat. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we pop off of here? Now, like I said, after I get off of here, I'm going to finish watching Mona from 2016. There's another 88, 8 and 8 to 16. All about Maui. The opening scenes was a black rock overtaking the island as Maui was running all the way to the sea. These are the opening scenes of this animated film. Black rocks falling all around him. I couldn't even believe it. So I'll break all that down. I didn't want to have to watch an animated film, but this one needs to be watched, doesn't it? All right, anything you guys want to talk about before we get off of here? Moana or Moana? Thank you. So you just break it up into like syllables, right? Yeah, we decoded yellow jackets already, elephant tusks. I think we did 2 or 3 videos on yellow jackets. So you should go to the channel and do a search for the word yellow jacket. There should be a search bar. If you're on a tablet or if you're on a laptop or a desktop, there's a search bar when you go through the browser. I don't know if that search bar is there when you access it through mobile, but it is there when you access it other ways. So you can word search the channel for all that stuff. And yellow jackets is one of the things we decoded. I know for sure we did that one. Moana. Moana? Okay. William says, how's the fishing? Oh boy. Well, I haven't been since I went out with Eli and his wife. I want to go back, but it's just a lot's been going on. The opening of Moana, the fire demon strikes Maui down. Yes, he does. Well, I'll show all that to you guys tomorrow. I've already got those clips, but I'm only 5 or 10 minutes into the movie. When the little girl walks in the ocean and the Red Sea is parted, I couldn't even believe my eyes. It wasn't the Red Sea, but it was the ocean was parted by some weird spirit. I was like, are you kidding me? The Exodus ritual right there in front of us. Now, people can still call this what they want. They can say we're seeing things that aren't there, but I think at this point, everybody agrees we're not just pulling stuff out of thin air. All this stuff is connected. It's all happening on a spiritual level. If you choose to take the time to actually sit down and think about what you're looking at and, take a little bit to see the decodes. It's easy when you see a title and you go, that's impossible. But when you actually see the evidence that we're presenting, it's undeniable for those that want to sit down and listen. Right? All right. Moana. Okay, thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Moana. I'll remember that for tomorrow's show. So moo like a cow, na. Okay. JBB by Grace says Lahaina is a god too, a demon. All right. Now, I know that there's talk of missing children there. We haven't really got into that aspect of it, but I know a lot of other channels are covering it. 2,000 is the number that they're saying, and that's very, very sad. So we'll keep them in our prayers, absolutely. The Hilo fan logo with the dot going across circles like a graduate moving their tassel over to the other side. Oh, great observation there. Which was all absolutely part of the animation when Obama was sitting in the chair in front of the classroom. The tassel moves to the side, doesn't it? As he graduated. I think that was possession is what that meant. When you graduate into the possession. Missing children, missing school buses, says Tanette. Child sacrifice to the volcano god. Now, I'm sure there's a whole additional rabbit hole if we were to go back into ancient practices and volcanoes. That's a rabbit hole I might go down today as well. What these volcanoes were used for in ancient times. Because this could tie everything in together. Burning Man, Maui, Lahaina, everything could all be tied in together. Yes, I Pet Go removed the video from you too, Angela. We covered that at the beginning of the show. So you might want to go back and rewind. But we did cover that. No, I don't have a Discord. I might have set up an account a long time ago, but I have not used it. Because at one time I thought about going to Discord because That's where it seemed like some of the people in the tree community were going to, but then I was like, I'm not going to do this. So if you see an Enter the Stars account, that could be mine, but it's got nothing on it or whatever. Yes, all will be revealed, Brenda. Absolutely. Isn't Tom Hanks in a volcano movie? Yes, he was in Castaway. I don't know if there was a volcano element to that movie, but he was, on an island, stranded on an island. There was a fire. I think there was a fire aspect to that movie as well. All right. Yeah, I don't go on Telegram anymore. It's kind of overrun with a lot of trolls, and it's overrun with a lot of just weird stuff. Yes, it's a free platform where it's not censored, but then what happens is the government then goes in and exploits that, and they fill up those sites with all kinds of just garbage. They're pushing crypto over there, like crypto ads coming up, like just a bunch of garbage. So I don't really go on Telegram anymore. I tried it for a while, and then I saw that it was just a haven for trolling. You go over there and people just start attacking you for various reasons, and so I just got off of there. Not a fan. It's chaos magic. This is what the controllers do. They can create the most chaos by exploiting people on those sites, right? All right, what else is going on? Pele, soccer guy, like volcano god, says Muddy Boots. All right. The Rock, who stars on Mona. Oh, wait, hold on. Read that. It looked important. Is online asking people to donate, right? Right? It's crazy. Millionaires and billionaires. You know how much money that guy's worth? Why do all the struggling people? Okay, if I was a millionaire or billionaire, guess what I would do? Okay, you ready for this? I would tell people, look, we want you to donate, but anybody making less than $100,000 a year, do not donate. You keep your money. We know you're struggling to make ends meet, but all of us other millionaires and billionaires, let's us raise our money and give our money away to help these people, right? But instead, you get people who might have their last $5 to put gas in their car, and they're asking them to support the people over there. And look, that's a good thing, but it's like they've got all this money. Why aren't they giving away half their income? Why aren't they asking each other to give away half their income? That would make plenty of money, wouldn't it? But instead, they guilt trip us, the little people, who they can't even make a fair society. They can't even make a payable living wage. Nobody in America who works 40 hours a week should be worried about their car being broken into, should worry about where they're living, should worry about living in a crime-ridden area, should worry about how many roommates they're going to have to get through life, should be worried about how much they're going to pay for childcare or health care. Nobody in our country, anyway, should be worried about that if you're working 40 hours a week. I don't care what job you're doing. I don't care if you're flipping hamburgers. You should have those things in America. And until the working people of America who work 40 hours a week have that, then there shouldn't be billionaires and millionaires and trillionaires. Should there? They need to fix the economy so that it's fair. Now, people working 40 hours a week aren't asking to be rich. We're not asking for a miracle. We're asking for basic needs. Now, you can call that what you want. They're going to try to slap a label on that. They're going to say, oh, that's not true capitalism, Casey. If people want to better themselves, they should just work harder and get more degrees and all this stuff. No. That's the way I used to think. I don't think that way anymore. I used to make a lot of money. And as you get older, you make less and less money. And it's harder and harder for people to hire you. People don't respect you. They fire you for no reason because they want to make more money and more greed. And then you start to learn lessons in life. You start to learn that it's not about how hard you work. It's about who you know, who you can get in with, who has the hookups. Has nothing to do with how hard you work. I've seen people get up and go to work every single day only to have, hundreds of dollars a week out of their paycheck taken out for healthcare. Oh, we're going to take $500 of your $1,500 a week back for healthcare. Taxes. Commute back and forth to work. $19 an hour doesn't go as far as it used to, does it? And that's a travesty. It's a travesty in America that this is how America works. And it needs to be called out. Doesn't it? It's a travesty that you work 40 hours a week and there's nothing left. Nothing. So, these people, these rich people, extremely rich people, they're not just a little bit rich, they're really rich, asking you and I for money, Trump asking us for money, Oprah asking us for money, The Rock asking us for money, they can stuff it. They can stuff it. Ask your peers for money. Ask the other millionaires and billionaires for money. Don't ask us for money. We're exempt. And I'm sorry to get on my soapbox here, but I feel very strongly about this. I've run into people in my life and that I've seen struggle in this, and it makes me angry. It makes me angry. These are good people. Stressed out, sick. Barely get out of bed every day. Work to the bone. And nothing. While rich people ask you and I for money from something they did. They did that. As I just demonstrated to you with all the occult programming and rituals. And it's not about, go better yourself. Okay, it's good to better yourself. That's great. You want to go to school and be a nurse? That's awesome. But as many of you know, even if you go do that, all that does is make you spend more money, right? Your scale goes up a bit, but it doesn't go up in scales of magnitude for the effort that you put into it. Now you've got to pay off all those school loans. Right? Which you'll never get out of. So, I'm just speaking truth here. And some people might not want to hear that, but it's the truth, and nobody wants to talk about it. When you go and try to better yourself, yes, you can make a little bit more money. And I know because I did this. I did it. I got a college degree. I thought, now I've made it. Now life's going to be easy. No, it's not. Because your mortgage goes up for a little bit better house, not much of a better house. You still have costs, right? And then the economy just engulfs it all anyways. All it takes is for your mortgage to go up, your rent to go up, a little bit higher gas prices, and all that extra effort you put in to go get a degree gets all absorbed back into the beast. It's ridiculous. And then you got these people with gold-plated bathrooms in 17 different properties. They can get their nails done, 3 times a week. And they're gallivanting around as if, this is normal. And then they have the gall to make us believe, hey, if you try to, you could be like us. You could be in our club. All you got to do is get discovered. And this is when people actually are approached with something like this, which is you've got a better chance of winning the lottery. And then they come to the sick realization that, wow, in order for me to be like them, I have to sell out. And then there's some kind of selling out ritual spelled in blood or whatever these people do. Right? And then when they're faced with that choice, they've worked so hard to get noticed. They've worked so hard to have this money that oftentimes they give in. They give into it, don't they? They sell out. So I love each and every one of you. I'll leave the show at that. Thanks everybody for showing up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all your guys' support. And I'll see you tomorrow with the Moana decode for the 2018 animated film. Much love, everybody.